Grand Cathay has finally been revealed, and what a reveal it is, with perhaps the best cinematic trailer that Creative Assembly has ever produced. While the roster, at least what we can glean from the trailer and related blog, are not entirely what I expected, I can say that I am happy with how Cathay seems to be shaping up. Hell, this trailer even showed me units I didn't know I wanted, and now that I've seen the Cathayan Air Force floating serenely high above the battlefield, I can't wait to make use of them. So let's stop gushing and start with the dissecting, as I give my thoughts, such as they are, on what was presented. I love this image of the Great Bastion, with the wall having been breached, the different tiers of the City of Flame, and the portal high above opening to the realm of Tzeentch and the horrors that dwell within. If the scale represented in the image, with the massive walls and multiple tiers of defences, is indicative of the scale of the Bastion in-game, then I tip my hat to the team at Creative Assembly. As I've previously mentioned, the Great Bastion needs to be on a scale that dwarfs everything from the first two games, and the cinematic team have captured that perfectly here. I hope that the scale in the campaign and the battle maps reflect this. When I saw this city, with floating boulders and buildings, the mists clinging to them, and the massive sprawling streets beneath, I gasped in awe. The aesthetic here is everything I imagined and hoped for, with all of the trimmings, and then some. If this does turn out to be a siege map for Cathay, as a number of content creators have speculated, then it seems that Creative Assembly are going all in. We can see multiple elevations, multiple walls to breach, and large streets and courtyards for some epic engagements. Here we get our first close-up of some of the units that will be available for Grand Cathay. In the foreground on the left, we have some form of ranged gunpowder unit, and we can even make out the butt and trigger of the weapon in the closest soldier. On the right, we have a heavily armoured infantry unit, equipped with halberds I think. These could be Grand Cathay's top tier anti-large unit perhaps. In the skies above, we see flying cavalry, not something I at all expected to see in the Cathayan roster. I really like the look of the ground troops here, the choice of colours, the chainmail, and the style of the helmets on the heavy infantry, and even down to the headbands on the missile soldiers. I hope everything looks this good. This ornate cannon, as it's pulled by oxen, has to be one of the most beautiful concepts for an artillery piece in the entire franchise. I hope the model on the battlefield looks just as good. I also love the use of the oxen to pull it around, and the lantern that hangs from the yoke just shows that they have been very consistent with their theme. Our first look at a terracotta construct. Not quite what I imagined, as I thought we would see units of these on a human scale, and I do hope that those will appear as part of the full roster. But this large Terracota Sentinel looks absolutely amazing. I wonder if these will not only be troops that you can recruit, but if they will also be part of your city's defensive upgrades for sieges, as later in the video it is mentioned that these are the Sentinels of the Great Bastion. Every shot in this trailer conveys an impressive scope and looks absolutely gorgeous, and these soldiers are no different. We once again see the heavily armoured halberdiers on the right, but alongside we also have two other tiers of infantry. The closest to the camera looks like they are slightly less armoured, but have the advantage of shields. They are also carrying two types of weapons, one similar to a halberd, and the other almost like a giant toothbrush, with the bristles replaced by blades. If anyone knows what weapon this is, please let me know in the comments. The third infantry unit looks like the basic entry-level unit, carrying spears and what I think are pitchforks. These guys seem to be wearing very little armour, so will likely be Cathay's version of cannon fodder. I think the infantry here for Cathay will turn out to be stronger than I had expected, as in previous videos I had compared them to the Empire, and from what we see in the trailer, they will likely be more capable than the humans in the West. In my video about my expectations for Grand Cathay, I thought they would be a grand-based faction, with little options in the air. Well, it seems I was wrong, as Cathay's war balloons, in conjunction with the flying cavalry we saw earlier, could make them an aerial powerhouse. I had not even considered the possibility of large Chinese lanterns fitted with a platform containing snipers, cannons and rockets. Shame on me, as these fit in so well with the Oriental theme. Say hi to the Supreme Matriarch of Nangao and daughter of the Dragon Emperor, one of the 2 legendary lords available on launch for Grand Cathay. I was at first disappointed that the Dragon Emperor himself is not going to be playable, but based on the lore that he has been given, it does make perfect sense. If he is on the power level of a god, then he would be OP for the game. I'm sure that his daughter, the Supreme Matriarch of Nangao, will fit his shoes nicely, as she has some unique abilities. I love the colour palette for Tzeentch's forces. The blues, the purples and pinks work so well. Here we have some Chaos Warriors, or Chosen perhaps, riding discs with Tzeentch. The scene here is fantastic, though I do have concerns over how this might look in game. I think it's going to be a tough one for the animators to pull off, so it doesn't look too silly with the troops flying on the discs. Our first look at Kairos Fateweaver, who will undoubtedly be one of the legendary lords for Tzeentch. I love the way that he and the creatures behind him are flying, and it reminds me a lot of that classic scene from Flash Gordon, where the Birdmen attack the battlecruiser. Forsaken and Horrors and Screamers, oh my. The Cathayan gunpowder unit from earlier. We get a better look here at their weapons, and it seems that they are probably a short-range anti-infantry hand cannon of sorts. Could be quite deadly to armoured and unarmoured foes alike. The interchange between the units here as the missile troops step back and the armoured infantry take up positions at the front in perfect unison is just amazing. Purely for the cinematic I expect, but wouldn't it be cool to have the option to do this in battles? Kung Fu Sentinels. I just love it. The use of magic here is a wonder to watch, almost like a dance. I wonder which law of magic is on display, and if the casters will perform similar actions in-game as their spells are released. Kairos lays the smackdown with what appears to be the pink fire Tzeentch spell. Looks OP to me. That's one hell of a party trick, and one hell of a way to end a trailer. I was worried that the Cathay reveal would fall flat for me, as I've been looking forward to their addition more than any other faction in Game 3, and Kislev wasn't quite up to snuff. Well, if this trailer is anything to go by, then I'm going to enjoy Grand Cathay every bit as much as I had hoped. I can't wait to see the second legendary lord, and perhaps more importantly, how Cathay is portrayed in the campaign map. I heard Indie Pride say that he would be content with Grand Cathay being about the size of the Empire. I hope that's not him subtly tempering our expectations based on something that he knows, as I want to see Grand Cathay in all its glory. It has to be big, very big, and much bigger than the Empire, as the lore states. All in all, I'm thrilled, but I'd love to know your thoughts on Grand Cathay. Did you enjoy the trailer? Does the faction appeal to you based on what you've seen? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or sub. If not, then why not tell me why in the comments? I read every comment that's posted, and I like to hear suggestions on how I can grow this channel. This video was brought to you with the aid of my patrons, thanks to Hot Apple Pie, Alexander, and Solarith Magnetar. I'm Grey Tiger, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.